So the first thing I want to do, actually, is make sure that the mic's on. Yeah, we're hot. Is give a shout out to the Oklahoma Breakdown, who I think does fantastic work. In my opinion, they are the crown jewel of passion, ball knowledge, but also objectivity. Even in the tough moments when they absolutely don't want to be, they have to, because they have an obligation to do their job as fans of the sport, as well as their teams, but of the sport in general, to deliver and convey the complete, the accurate, the total, truthful message of what needs to be told and what oftentimes doesn't get told because of mainstream media just looking for clicks, views, reactions, you name it, right? So credit to them. They're who I aspire to be. They are who I feel I am en route to becoming, just on, just the same concept, the same style, the same truth, just in a slightly different version and a little bit further south, below the Red River, okay? We're going to hear from these guys in just a second. And I hope that I don't get a copyright strike as a result of it. But more people need to go and watch their work. Even if you're a Texas fan, you need to be paying attention to what these guys are saying. Because if you like what we do here, the sports below the surface truth for the true fan, then you will appreciate Gabe and Teddy. So shout out to those guys. Listen to their first message, and then we'll get into the weeds. And then just a disclaimer, first and foremost, before we get into the actual film, the All22, this is the version you're going to see is the version that I have. It's the only thing that I have access to or accessible at this current point. It's a little bit pixelated, all right? It's it's obviously not 4K. It's not perfect. But if you're curious, I feel like it's enough. And I don't love posting it. I honestly feel a little bit guilty doing so because I want it to be the cleanest, most crisp version for you guys. But I think it's just enough to give you that contextualized evidence for exactly what I'm saying. The things that I think truly matter, the things that we saw, the things that helped Texas take down Oklahoma in rather convincing fashion, especially down the stretch, right, where they chose physicality. There's a couple things that you'll hear me say throughout this that I think are critical to the casual observer, but also to the diehard for Texas's ultimate ceiling and success down the stretch into SEC championship contending play, potentially, and then beyond that, if they can continue choosing effort and physicality first, as well as Arch's progression. But this is still the ultimate team sport here, so we're kind of making sure that we touch on things other than just that one player that everybody loves to focus on. But he is a big reason for, there's a handful of plays that are starting to happen each week right now. And it's seemingly happening more and more frequently with each passing week. And you'll hear Teddy reference that here. So let's go ahead and run it. And thank you guys for being here. Thank you to Inside Texas, of course. All of our work here, Texas related, for the rest of this season is in conjunction and on behalf of Inside Texas. All right, I've done my part here. Make sure that you do yours so that you can help continue the growth of this platform. We're on our way to 10K. I think we can do it with your help before season's end. All right, hook 'em. Hit that like button for me and enjoy the rest of your watch.
Arch Manning beat us. There's about 4 or 5 plays where he looked about as good as a quarterback can look. He had a throw out of his end zone whenever we had him backed up on 3rd down where, we've got pretty good coverage. We've got pretty good pressure. He's throwing it on the run out of the end zone with guys coming at him ready to make the play, and he threads the needle to Livingston on the sideline. Just a hell of a throw. I mean, some of those you got to tip your cap. A couple of missed tackles we had.
So there's about a handful of plays now that Arch Manning makes where you really start to understand where all the hype generated from to begin with. Now, the hype and the declaration of him as a finished product was obviously always premature and overstated. But here's just one of the roughly, say, 5 plays in this game that broke Oklahoma's back, okay? Plays like this, you're gonna see. His superpower, for anyone who doesn't yet know, hasn't yet heard, or isn't watching closely, it's the way, for right now, okay? His process ability is gonna be his ultimate superpower long-term, but for right now, where Quinn Ewers really separates himself as a college quarterback, is his ability to not just sense the pressure, but navigate said pressure accordingly, and then still keep his eyes down the field and be able to throw and access most, if not all, parts of the field while on the move, moving either direction. That is rare. Here's one of the 5 examples right here, okay? Calm, poised, eyes downfield. Just watch it. Okay. Senses a little bit of pressure, navigates pressure, eyes downfield. Senses a little bit of pressure again, navigates pressure again, eyes downfield. Let's flush. Let's change the launch point. Okay, eyes down the field, throwing across my body back into the middle of the field, which is usually never never advised. But he has the athletic ability to rotate, contort his hips, and the arm strength as a result of that rotation and the contortion to get it back and fit it into a tight window in between 2 defenders on the run. Perfectly in stride to DeAndre Moore. This is what one of the 3 biggest keys for Texas to beat and dismantle Oklahoma in rather dominating fashion. This was one of the 3. But this is why anyone that is still blaming Arch Manning, people, let's just say people like the national media outlets, like the New York Times, that are already just willing to label anything a finished product. This is why it's just asinine. All it takes is a little bit of work, a little bit of study, a little bit of objectivity about what you're seeing. The Oklahoma breakdown, if you're looking for any form of objectivity whatsoever, that might be a good place to start, about the truth about this player. And this next example is one of the 3. So this is number 2 of the 3 examples of why Texas beat Oklahoma. All right, let's actually fast forward to the other angle here. And I apologize for the grainy nature of this film here. This is the way that it's sent over to me. There's nothing that I can do about it. It's the only option that I have at this point. So just bear with me and just do the best that you can to bypass. I know it's not the most beautiful picture to look at, but it still is enough contextual evidence for you guys to really get a better general sense of what I'm talking about. And I hope that you appreciate the extra effort, regardless of the quality of the picture. But the toughness, the effort, and the no-quit nature of 2 players in particular on this play. Tight end Jordan Washington, running back Travion Wisner. So the contact balance, first and foremost, from number 5. This play here is a tackle for loss, okay? It's 1st and 10. The score is 6-0 OU. Texas doesn't have a single point on the board yet up until this point of the game. 1st and 10, this should be a tackle for loss. But we're going to have, instead it turns into a 37-yard gain because of effort. But so here's the thing, Texas gets behind the sticks. Being behind the sticks against Oklahoma is a disaster waiting to happen. So let's just say what has happened all year when OU gets a tackle for loss on early downs, right? They force teams into 3rd and longs, which is the likely scenario after a 1st and 12, a 2nd and 12 down and distance, which would have been the case on this play. OU gets Texas into a 2nd and long, 2nd and 12 or 13, something like that, right? And then what has happened ends up happening. Texas punts. Then on defense, they have a coverage bust, which is rare, but it still happens. Guys pressing, still down 6-0. OU has the ball, right? John Mateer makes a big play, avoids pressure, and then hits a deep shot. A streaking, wide open receiver down the field. And now all of a sudden, it's 13-0 OU. But instead, this would be tackle for loss because of the toughness of Trey Wisner, the contact balance of Trey Wisner, but the no quit in Jordan Washington. Looking for extra work. Watch. He could very easily stop right here and say, oh, Trey Wisner should be down. You know, play is over. Let me catch my breath. Hands on hips. Next play. No, that's not what he does. He immediately he keeps his feet moving. He's looking downfield through the whistle, looks for work. Watch. Boom. Whoever it is from the third level that's pursuing, or, you know, downhill right there, Jordan Washington deletes him from the picture, which then springs this would-be tackle for loss into a 37-yard gain. All because two guys didn't quit. But then you'll see this dude right here, one of the stories of the week, of the game, one of the promising young princes of the future for Texas. The biggest guy on the field, consistently working the hardest, playing with the most effort and enthusiasm through the whistle. Look at the hustle downfield. And by the way, him tossing people out the club with the same level of enthusiasm is all over this film too. We see you, boy. We see you. Nick freaking Brooks, ladies and gentlemen. Trey Wisner, ladies and gentlemen. Jordan Washington, ladies and gentlemen. Arch Manning, ladies and gentlemen. This is what is required. But this is what Texas is capable of. On a week-to-week basis, they can play with and beat anybody. Another example of Arch Manning here, of the handful of plays that he's making each week that break the backs of teams like Oklahoma. They're happening more and more frequently. All right, but it's stuff like this. Once again, the rare trait that he possesses currently as a college quarterback is the ability to sense and navigate pressure and still keep his eyes down the field and make plays off script. Okay, the pocket navigation, just watch this. I was looking for a specific word there and it's not coming out, so I just stopped trying to search for it. But this is it. So this is 3rd and 9. Texas is still, this is on the same possession after the Trey Wisner 37-yard run. It's still 6-0. This is a long field goal attempt coming here in most cases for Oklahoma on these scenarios. 3rd and 9. It's almost a guaranteed stop in either forced kick or forced punt. Senses pressure, navigates pressure, eyes downfield, accurate throwing on the run. Another nice play, another nice connection from DeAndre Moore. This is almost hard to describe and even imagine. Any guy criticized as much as this dude has no business making plays like this. Once again, the rare trait that he currently possesses as a college quarterback is the ability to sense, navigate, and deliver under pressure. Sense pressure, navigate pressure, deliver under pressure, moving both directions. What are we talking about? He hit this target, by the way. Watch this. He hits the outlet while getting sandwiched by a 300-pounder. And he's borderline, he's at a 45-degree angle as he's letting it go because he's getting hit. But this maneuver here is arguably more impressive than the throw. How does he make this dude miss, this first guy? What? I mean, I highlighted this play the other day. from DJ Campbell on Twitter. I'm going to do it again here, though, just because he showed veteran senior level physicality and ability as a run blocker and a crease creator. Just watch him lock on right here. The strike, the lock, and then the hit turn just creates a massive seal for Trey Wisner to see and hit. When Trey's vision is going to take him to the right spot most cases. That's why he's such a valuable commodity to Steve Sarkisian, albeit maybe limited with his explosivity. Right? He's no Jadon Blue or Bijan Robinson or Keelan Robinson or even Roshan Johnson, I don't think. But he's tough, and he knows what he's seeing, and he trusts what he's seeing, and he hits it hard. But DJ Campbell is a big reason for this crease right here. Once again, physicality won for Texas. And their front eventually wore down the Oklahoma defensive front. And that is not something that anybody expected or predicted. But we here at the Lando Show at Inside Texas, Sports Below the Surface, we talked about effort, physicality, and toughness versus soft being a choice. And Texas chose manhood in the game where you need it the most. So DJ Campbell, yet another example of toughness and effort winning in this football game. I didn't even realize I missed this. Watch Nick Brooks catch 38 in the kitchen slipping. He lets him know. Look at him. Boy. Example number 3, or maybe number 4. At this point, I don't remember exactly how many I've done, but you'll see. Once again, flees the pocket, okay? Keeps his eyes down the field. But then watch Ryan Wingo. What he does, he breaks to space, plenty of it at that. But this just goes to show you the chemistry. It's obviously arm talent, right? His ability to throw into unconventional windows because of the way that he can contort his body and still maintain a pretty solid zip cap from weird angles, moving either direction. But I love the fact that we're seeing signs of growth, not just from Ryan Wingo, right? Coming of age at the receiver position, understanding what he and Arch like to do, being on one accord in scramble drill. But he obviously realizes that there's 2 other receivers to his left, and he's got the athleticism, the IQ, the wherewithal to shut it down, get back, work the opposite direction in which Arch is currently moving, find plenty of space, but then Arch, expecting him to do it, ready for it, waiting on it, and then delivering accurately back, opposite momentum, across his body, okay, moving the wrong direction, and still sits him down, and Wingo just becomes a possession receiver and makes sure that he reels in the catch. Beautiful. So it's Wingo maturing and knowing what to do, right? Remember replacing blitzers when teams fired the nickel at Quinn Ewers all year last year, and Wingo didn't really understand yet to set it down so Quinn could throw right behind the blitz. But it's just now stuff like this where we're seeing, okay, break the opposite direction of my quarterback, even though he's technically in line with me. But I know he's got the arm strength and athleticism to get me the ball no matter where I'm at. So I'm going to go find space. I'm going to sit down in it, and he's going to expect me to do it. That's a big-time play from both players there. And then, of course, the play that Coach Sark himself said is one of the best throws, if not the best throw of the year from Arch Manning. Ability to sense and navigate pressure. How many times are you going to hear me say it in this video? Sense, navigate, deliver, under pressure, tight ball throw. I mean, he had one just like this last week too, or not just like this, but in a similar fashion against Florida. No, people, of course, don't talk about it, but I mean, the arm strength, dude, rolling and then fitting it into that window in between those 2 players right there on the sideline. What? Once again, that's hard to quantify or describe, right? Watch the route. Look how far down the field this is, this throw. This is almost a 30-yard throw from where Arch lets that go to where Parker Livingston ends up on his break catching that thing. and it's a seed. That's an NFL window, guys. I don't know if I know it's not the clearest picture, but it's enough to show you how preposterous that is. All right, and then of course this last one, I really hope y'all are still paying attention and keeping it locked in with me. And if you have, then I appreciate it. Make sure that you're liking the video so that this platform can remain free and we continue growing the sports below the surface truth with the true fan. Sports in general, but especially for the Cowboys and Longhorns fans like you that are watching this video still that deserve to hear that sports below the surface truth. We're trying to get to 10,000. That's the goal before season's end, and I know that we can do that with your help. So I've done my part. Just make sure that you do yours and help me out. But this play right here, this is honestly probably the least impressive, relatively speaking. It's the lowest hanging fruit that you would like for your quarterback to, the lowest level that you would like for him to achieve before you start to declare him anything, right? It's relatively entry level. Let's just say it that way. All right. So you'll see he gets through, he's going through his progression, senses the pocket collapsing, senses pressure. Everybody's pretty much covered up, but watch. So it's on time, getting it to your outlet within the structure of the offense. Okay, so not just Steve Sarkisian making the adjustment and having less guys allocated to max protecting, just giving him an outlet this week. More so, much more so than last week, right? So it's not there. Where's my outlet? Check it down to him right away and right on time. Get it to an athlete in space and let my athlete in space go make a play. That's real growth, guys. And there you go. You have a chunk explosive. All because Arch wasn't sped up. He was perfectly on time, and he knew exactly what to do when he sensed pressure or trouble. And he did it. And then, of course, this is just the nail in the coffin stuff right here. When this part of the bag down the stretch is fully deployed, because it's got to have it moments towards the end of the season when it's literally do or die to keep your season alive. And you got to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at your opposing defense, especially when you're still, in Texas's case, most likely going to struggle at least a little bit in the run game moving forward. Like doing this against Oklahoma doesn't guarantee anything, right? It's a week-to-week league still. It's not the NFL, but it's still a week-to-week league, as Texas just proved to us, all right? Still want to see the same level of effort. And if we do, it's going to be a lot of fun. But look at the misdirection. If you're a defense, what the heck do you do when you see this? How can you possibly trigger and play quickly? This is Ben Johnson. This is Clayton Adams and Brian Schottenheimer for the Cowboys. This is Kyle Shanahan for the Niners. This is Sean McVay for the Rams. This is, man, it's misdirection in motion at the snap. Like, responsibilities are changing so fast in real time. Look at all the movement in this front and these few frames right here. Almost all of it is you're going to see burnt orange shirts in motion, all right? Moving, we'll say. Watch the white jerseys. Guys first of all, this Mike right here has no idea what to do. He's literally saying, what is going on, guys? Like, they're all out of sorts. You can see that. Look at them trying to communicate. All right, you line up here. No. You take this one. No, I got, shit. Just look. They have no idea what to do. Look at all of them just kind of standing still. We got quicksand. Kind of thinks he knows what he sees, but not sure. Still way late to the picture, especially you got big 320-pound DJ Campbell screaming downhill at you. Good luck in the phone booth there, my friend. This guy's setting the edge. He's playing that backside responsibility. But there's no flow from the second level. That's the point. Watch this. Look at them outflanked, out-leveraged. All these guys were standing still for a one count at least, where every single one of these burnt orange shirts is getting momentum created because of Steve Sarkisian, the pro-level offensive mastery in the run game. This is what we've been missing, the misdirection, because they've been trying to figure out who the heck they are. They've been experimenting a little bit in the 3 tune-up games that people made fun of them for. This is kind of what we predicted, what we thought we were going to see against Florida. We didn't see it. maybe an over-evaluation or an over-expectation to pass protect and hit the deep shot. The ADOT shifted from 20 yards of average yards, the average depth of target. So that's the average distance Archer's throwing the football every time he throws it. 20 yards per toss against Florida last week. Only 4 against OU this week. Now, you'd still like to see that number increase just a little bit, but it just goes to show you Coach Sark making adjustments. A lot of people in my mentions, on Twitter especially, told me that he wasn't capable of making those things happen. And you add this element, the extra hat plus all this other misdirection into the equation, on top of these guys playing like the bully caliber athletes that they are, bigger, faster, stronger than you, amazing things will continue to happen.